You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
This episode brought to you by PetFlow, the leader in pet food and supplies.
It's a big world out there, and you're just looking for a pat on the back or head. You run around the city, searching for a place to bark, working your tail off with your nose to the ground, sniffing for a few scraps, hoping someone will throw you a bone. You take each lead, collar after collar, hoping one day to take a bite out of success and become the top dog. Fortunately, you come home each day to open arms, open cans, a drink waiting for you, and a comfortable place in front of a TV set. You know you've got it good, really good, because after all, it's a doggy dog world out there. Pet Life Radio presents It's a Doggy Dog World with your host, pet expert and award-winning author Liz Palaika, and this week's co-hosts Kate Abbott and Petra Burke.
Hi, welcome to It's a Doggy Dog World. I'm your host, Liz Palaika, and with me today are my good friends, Petra Burke. Hello. And Kate Abbott.
How do?
And today we're going to talk about trick training. We've talked about this before, and we'll talk about it again, because we love trick training. It's great for the dog-owner relationship, and it's a lot of fun.
You know what? I think before we go any further, if you hear heavy breathing in the background, that'd be the dogs. It's not Kate.
Our dogs had just had a really good run around the field, and they're all breathing hard. So, yes, the noise in the background is dog breath.
Not us.
And on that point, let's have a word with our sponsor. Our podcast today is sponsored by PetFlow.com. They're an online pet supply store. And I've ordered several things from them, and was impressed by the service. I got the box to my house within 2 days, which is really good.
Yeah.
Plus, they have what they call their doorbuster specials. And I got an email this morning saying that the items that were on the doorbuster specials were 80% off. Now, I don't care what you're buying. If something is 80% off, that's absolutely awesome. And they have new specials every day. So we'll talk about them a little bit more in the show, a little bit later in the show. But if you've got a pen, jot it down. If you go to www.petflow.com/doggy, D-O-G-G-Y, and you use the coupon code DOGGY, D-O-G-G-Y, you'll get free shipping on any order above $39. So back to trick training. You want to talk a little bit, Kate, about why we like trick training? I mean, other than the fact that it's just fun.
It's fun for a busy, active dog. It's almost a necessity. You know, as I say, you can only do so many sits and downs before you and your dog get bored. And you still need to work it.
I'm running into that with Bones.
Yep.
For those of you who are regular listeners, you know, my 1-year-old puppy, Bones, is a pretty active boy. I've talked about that several podcasts. But he particularly dislikes repetition. Over and over and over again, he'll do it, he'll cooperate, but it gets slower and there's less enthusiasm, and it doesn't matter how many treats are involved, it's like, I've done that.
There's no more challenge.
I know how to do that. Let's do something else.
Yeah. And having a terrier now, yes.
Yeah.
It's very definitely a part of the terrier. Been there, done that, let's move on.
Yeah.
The things to do.
But you know what? It's also good for dogs that, I mean, I don't really have a busy one. I just have a...
I'm waiting to see what adjective you come up with.
I know, apparently, yeah.
Silly?
Okay. Goofy? Yeah, I should have named him Goofy.
Energetic.
Yeah.
I mean, he settles down and snuggles, but...
You know what? And surprisingly, after other Aussie moved on with Kayla to a different state, yeah, he settled down a lot. But what's nice is he does a lot of tricks, and I've shown my aunt. So now my aunt, who lives with me, and she has no dog skills whatsoever, has copied what I've done. So every time he needs a treat, he's got to work on the tricks. Okay. And you know what's also good? To do it with kids.
Yeah.
My niece and nephew, they're kind of worried about dogs, but if I make Rio, who's very busy and moves very fast, do tricks, all of a sudden he's not so scary because he's such a sudden mover.
They feel a little control over what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And he's happy to work for them.
Love to do them.
And it's a bit of a release. I don't ask my kids to do their tricks the exact same way every time.
Sure.
So they get to throw a little flair into it if they want. It's just not as it's not as important if I say shake that they do it the very first time and only time I say it.
Sure.
So, and Walter does like to improvise.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Yes.
So his
Just
late
quite funny.
fall down and die is always a different
Cisco.
routine.
I like when he's in a dramatic mood.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he does that very well.
He'll really get into it.
But then I think, it's also a good avenue for people who are like, oh, okay, I've taught my dog all the basic commands, now what?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, let's have some fun. Let's teach him new commands. And you giggle, you laugh, and you have a good time.
I do seem to be seeing, too, a lot these days in my private training of dogs that are anxious or fearful. And so one of the techniques that I've been working with a lot is to give the dogs small amounts of stress and then help them overcome it. And so something like a trick, the owners are not as, invested in that they must do it right.
Not so tense.
Well, and
sometimes
they're
it's
not
so
so
serious.
And so building on the tricks and making them a little more complicated, or asking them to do the old box trick, where you put a box down and you let them figure out something to do
Sure.
with it, and you praise them for it.
And then the next time, look for something different for them to do with it and reward it.
So there is a little bit of stress there in what am I supposed to do, how am I doing. But as they learn that they get rewarded for trying different things, they start to relax a little bit more and have more confidence.
And then there's like Bashir, who hits the box like a tornado
Yeah.
and does 25 zillion things with it all at once and then goes, cool, was that good?
But even if all the dog does is go up and put his nose in there, then they're so relaxed afterwards. The owner's going, wow, look at how relaxed he is, because he's been thinking.
Yeah, or you start giggling. The owners start laughing. We just had that with Rio, actually. My aunt had a paper bag, and she had leftover, I don't know what was in there. Nothing harmful, obviously. So Rio stuck his head in the bag, and she had lost grip for a moment. It was a big bag, but he's walking around still trying to lick the bottom of it. She starts cracking up. The bag comes off. He's all happy, and then he purposely sticks his head again, and it comes out like, did you laugh again? Was that fun?
Yeah.
So
It's a little courage
a little courage.
to do these things. So anyway, it's fun.
I like trick training also because I think every time I teach one of my dogs a trick, I learn a little bit more about that individual dog and get a little better at my own training skills.
Yeah.
I took Bones through the last 2 trick training classes and taught him some different tricks in each one. And the first time we went through, he was a little hesitant, and although he's had a significant amount of obedience training, this was the first time I had started tricks with him, and so I was a little more hesitant. How is he going to take to it? Is he going to enjoy it? Are we going to enjoy it? And then the second round of classes, we went into it like, yeah, we can do this. I know he likes it. I can communicate with him. It's great fun.
And that's when he started adding his flares.
Yes, he started adding his own little additions onto it. And when he did, I'd reward it. Yeah, cool. Look at you, hot stuff.
Right.
And we did. We had great fun. But it gave, especially with him in adolescence, it gave us a chance to work together to build that teamwork. And for me to work on my training skills, because every single one of my 3 dogs is different. And how I approach the training with them is different. So getting a chance to really practice that and laugh at the same time is
there's just
awesome.
not the pressure on the dog or the human to, get there.
Right.
Like there
And
is
we've
for-
seen so many of our students, the dogs come out of their shell.
Yes.
And that's really nice to see.
Very few people giggle and applaud when their dog sits.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes it's hard to get them to reward enough.
Yes.
Your dog sat, praise him, give him a cookie.
Oh, but I was already thinking about the stay. They've already moved on.
Yeah.
To the next level.
And my mom with her new puppy, I'm constantly telling her, praise him, he's sitting, he's just a baby, praise him. Well, he knows it. Praise him anyway. I love my mom dearly, but she is not a dog trainer. I did not get my dog training skills from her.
Or you took them all, and that's why she has none.
Yeah, well, whichever.
And then occasionally you can turn a trick into something useful. Going out to get the newspaper.
Sure.
I love Walter getting he not only gets my slippers, but he takes my shoes back to my bedroom for me when he gets my slipper.
Okay, so we wanted to talk about some tricks. Let's talk about how you taught that one. Everybody, run real quick, grab a pen and a piece of paper. All right, you got it? Sit back down. Okay, now how did you break that into training
Wait, they're
steps?
still looking for a pen.
First, teach your dog to recognize pin.
Go find it.
Go fetch the pin. There you go. Well, starting way back is getting them to retrieve something.
Right.
So playing the game fetch.
Uh-huh.
And then putting some vocabulary in that simple game of fetch. You know, I ask so many people, hey, do you play fetch with your dog? Yeah, I do. Okay, so when he brings the ball back, how do you get it back? Oh, he drops it, and then he runs 5 feet out and waits for me to throw it again. Okay, so let's ask him to put it in your hand. Oh, now it's a whole different game. Mm-hmm. So teaching them to bring it all the way to you and trade.
Define trade.
Trade is to give up the object to you and get something back in return.
So you got a cookie in one hand, you hold out your empty hand, palm up, ask your dog to bring it to you, drop it in your hand, and he gets a cookie.
Right. And I think very hard about the definitions. When I tell Walter to give, that means I want him to bring it over to me and hang on to it while I take a hold of the object and then open his mouth and let me have it.
Right.
So I would call him to me, take a hold of the object, then produce the treat.
Mm-hmm.
When he opens his mouth to let go of the object and take the treat, I say, good give.
Right.
Then if I want him to come over and just open his jaws and let it fall, then I tell him to drop it.
Right.
So then it's waving the cookie around until he drops the object to take the cookie. Good drop! Yay! And then...
And actually there are uses for either or. Because I
there
do
are
the
some
same
things
thing.
I don't want to touch.
Yeah. The dead lizard, the dead mouse.
The nice thing about the drop is then that can come into teaching them to put things into an object. Picking up their toys and putting them in a toy box.
Right.
Or a toy basket.
Right.
Or picking up trash and putting it in the trash.
Right.
So, but you have to get the object under control between you and the puppy dog. Okay, then the next step would be to teach them the different objects have different names. So we did it with toys.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have one toy and I'd say, get your thing as I threw it. Get your squirrel, get your squirrel, get your squirrel. And then I'd put that aside for a while and bring out something else. Go get the carrot, go get the carrot, go get the carrot. Yay! Good
Your
carrot.
dogs have weird toys.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I was just thinking that
in
too.
reality, he's got the beer bottle. It's a squeaky beer bottle. But anyway,
Right.
I was trying to think of more generic names. And then I bring out both toys together.
I can see her. Go get the beer.
Yes! He does like Hound's Brew or something, and it's a squeaky bottle. Anyway. And then ask it. Now, if he gets the wrong object and brings it back to me, he doesn't get reprimanded.
But he doesn't get a
But he
reward.
doesn't get a reward. I just say, oh, pick it up, put it away, and say, go get the other, whatever is left. So after a while, he did start choosing. And I am watching my terrier on extreme alert, so we might have a bark in a minute here. I'm not sure what he thinks he sees out the window, but he has gone into high alert.
Yeah, yes.
Every muscle quivering there. So just in case you hear an outroar of terrier barking, and Petra's going to go help him and look through the window and see what it is. Okay. Whatever it is, he's going to move from the window to the door. And he's getting everybody wound up.
There's nothing out there.
He's sure there is. You just can't see it.
All right, so we'll interrupt Kate for just a minute, and let's talk about our sponsor again, and then we'll come back to continuing on how to teach your dog to retrieve or take your shoes away and bring back your slippers. Our sponsor for tonight's podcast, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, is PetFlow.com. PetFlow is an online pet supply store. They carry more than 150 brands of dog food, which is absolutely amazing. One of our favorite foods that we recommend a lot, and we all three of us feed, is the Honest Kitchen food, and PetFlow carries that.
And I know a lot of people always ask us, oh my God, is that so expensive? And the fact that it comes in a box, I think, is very misleading.
Right.
You know,
and
I
it's
mean,
a dehydrated food.
Yeah, dehydrated. I mean, granted, it's 40-some pounds of food.
The equivalent.
Equivalent to if you dry food. But what's nice about PetFlow.com is you can do a price comparison per pound with a variety of foods that they carry on their website. So, I mean, there's an Honest Kitchen and
Sojo's. Sojo's is another dehydrated. Mm-hmm. There's different kinds of mix. So, and they do the comparison for you. I mean, they break it down per pound.
per pound.
Right,
Yeah.
so you can just look on the website. If you were looking at The Honest Kitchen's Force, which is a grain-free chicken food, the price per pound for either size of their boxes, they have a 4-pound box or a 10-pound box.
Yeah, it looks like, let's see on here, the 10-pound box, which is, normally any average size dog is probably the size you get. What is it, $8 per pound?
And so if we were to compare that to a Sojo's food...
Let's see, I only have a 2-pound, 10-ounce. Well, the 2-pound box is $8.50 a pound.
Oh, that's a 2-pound box.
That's a 2-pound box.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, it gives you a little easier way to compare foods, especially if you're looking at the cost for feeding.
And when you have a food that you like, your dog likes, it's working well, then you can set it up on a schedule.
Right.
So they'll just ship it out every so often.
right.
You don't even have to remember to order it.
And as far as
wonderful.
I'm concerned, that's awesome.
Yeah. So unfortunately, if you run out in the middle of the night or I should say in the middle of the night, like in the evening, and it's on a holiday, you can't go running to Albertsons or Ralph to pick up Sojo's or Honest Kitchen.
Right.
It's pretty much of a specialty food.
Kind of a neat idea, I think, is their spoiled rotten idea plan. So you sign up for however many times a month, or however many months you want it. You know, the old Fruit of the Month Club?
Right, uh-huh.
Okay, well, this is the Spoiled Rotten Club, and you can choose for dogs or for cats, and once a month you get a surprise box.
Which is so cool.
Of either dog
Dude, I haven't
appropriate
done
or
that
cat.
yet. Sounds like fun.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. I think it's more surprise for us. Look what you got!
Oh,
It's
yeah, you get
Christmas
to have the box,
again.
bring it in, open up, and say, it's Christmas.
It's a birthday, yeah. Now, PetFlow has offered a discount for our listeners. If you go to www.petflow.com/doggy, DOGGY, and you use the coupon code DOGGY, DOGGY, you'll get free shipping on any order above $39. And, if you
That's easy to do.
That's easy to do, and if you
Yeah, cool stuff.
get some heavy products or a number of different products, free shipping is nothing to sneeze at. So again, that's www.petflow.com/DOGGY and the coupon code DOGGY, and get some cool stuff for your dog, some excellent dog foods. Toys, treats, games, they have a little bit of everything. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I was really impressed with the ordering process. Some websites make ordering difficult, and some of them are very convoluted, but I thought this one worked really well.
Very nice.
Yep. All right, so back to the trick. So you've taught the dog to recognize different things.
And to carry them and bring them to you. So what I did was take off a shoe and have Walter carry it to someplace and drop it. And I would praise him and tell him, oh, that's so wonderful. So I used the hallway. And I put my slippers at the beginning of the hallway from the great room. So I took off my one shoe, gave it to him, walked with him to where the slippers were, praised him for dropping the shoe there, and gave him a reward. Yay, yay! Told him to pick up one of the slippers. Yay! We go back into the great room. He gives it to me. He gets his reward there. And so then I did it with the next shoe. So each night we got to practice twice. 2 shoes, 2 feet, 2 slippers.
Ooh, good thing you have 2 feet.
Yes. And each night I moved the slippers further and further back in the hall and started hanging back a little bit. So go take my shoe, and from a distance I tell him to drop it and pick up the slipper, and then he'd bring it back. And he got extra rewards because I didn't have to walk that far. Until I had the slippers all the way back in my bedroom. And I can sit down now in the family room, take off a shoe. He tears. He can't wait for me to get it off. Actually, we're working on him
Taking it off your foot?
Yes.
How did I know that was next?
Yes.
Is he going to make coffee next? Thinking when we go on a road trip.
Well, you know.
Walter, 1 cup of coffee, please.
We've got the coffee maker thing. You just put the pot in. So
push the
that's not
button.
that. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to ponder that.
Okay.
Huh. Okay.
As long as he doesn't taste it. Walter on caffeine? No.
Oh, man.
No.
He'll be taking everybody's shoes off to try to find those slippers.
All right. So
Well, it got to the point, where he could hardly wait for me to take off my shoes. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'll just untie them, and then you yank them off my feet. Yeah, that was cool. And then he dashes down the hallway to my bedroom and drops it and picks up the bed.
it's a good thing he's a small dog. Thinking of Bashir taking off my shoes, I probably wouldn't have any feet left.
When you have the wood floors, I can just picture a big dog trying to take off your shoe and dragging you down the hallway.
Oh, wait, with boots on. Yeah.
That was just a vision. I guess.
Yeah.
Quite funny.
Wait, I've worked on socks a couple of times, but I'm so ticklish. It's hard
I
to get
didn't
him.
know that.
Yeah.
Hold her down to get her feet.
I just told the world, didn't I? Oh, no.
I did not know
I'm only
that.
ticklish when my dog does it.
Right.
We'll test that.
Road trip happening.
So once you've done an object, though, so the shoes and exchange for the slippers, but the same idea with the newspaper.
Sure.
So I have many steps from my front door to my driveway. It's much nicer to have him go do it.
Yep.
And as you know, your mother, Liz, and your aunt, Petra, they don't train. Well, neither does my roommate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But she
We all
loves,
have a handicap, you know.
Yeah. She loves to get a treat ready and open the door and go send Walter to go get the paper. You know. And he comes back all thrilled with joy and, you know, to the point now where the terrier is getting jealous. And when Walter drops the paper in front of Virginia, then the terrier picks it up and shakes it. And, you know, is this what we're supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Killing the paper?
Yeah. Bashir has been getting the newspaper for the last couple years since my former newspaper delivery dog passed away. And Bones is standing inside the door going, hey, yeah.
I can do that. Let me do it.
He gets to run out there and gets a cookie.
And yes, there are still paper deliveries happening.
Yeah.
You know, I can't cancel it. I get most of my news on the computer. I do. I subscribe.
Something about old-fashioned, sitting there with a cup of coffee and reading a newspaper.
And I
Nothing really
couldn't.
tops
I
that.
break Bashir's heart.
Yes.
You know, he waited when he was young. Dax got the paper.
Yeah.
And then as he grew up, Riker got the paper.
Right.
And he's graduated now to he gets the paper.
Yeah.
And I couldn't break his heart, so I'm going to subscribe to the paper.
I subscribe for my dog.
Yeah, I do. So
useful.
any training issues that people could run into, or training tips for this, because it's a pretty convoluted trick.
Take it very slow. In trick class, I'm always telling people, if you can't go from A to B, and sometimes it's a great big step for the dog, then can you find a halfway point? And can you get there and reward the dog?
But you know what? One thing I think we've all also noticed is sometimes taking a break from that trick.
Oh, yes.
And then when you reintroduce it, all of a sudden it seems like it took the time to meld and then soak in their brain, and all of a sudden they even do it better when you're reintroducing it.
Especially if they hit a hard spot. Rather than drilling at that hard spot and drilling and drilling and drilling and making you and your dog both frustrated. Yeah, take a step back.
Give them a break, do something different.
I really noticed that. I was teaching Walter to step on a pedal to open the lid of a trash can. And we were both frustrated. It's just every now and then he'd do it, and I'd reward him, but then he wouldn't, and it seemed to... I put it away for 2 or 3 weeks. Brought it out and said, okay, let's try this again. He went up and did it perfectly.
Right.
I about fell over.
Yeah, it's like time to absorb.
Latent learning
something.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It works.
Yep.
Cool.
So break it into smaller steps.
Be patient.
Be patient. Maybe put it aside and work on something else.
Or take a step back every once in a while to reinforce a difficult concept.
And if you're not having fun,
Go on to something
find
else.
something else to do. Yeah.
Go on to something else.
You know, and I think right now it's a perfect trick because finally our weather is changing.
Cooling.
So now I can't wait to start wearing my slippers.
Yes.
I think it's a great time to teach them. Rio, that's what you're doing.
All
I've
right.
got one of those lamps that you can just touch the base of it and it'll go on or off. So teaching him to touch that, to turn the lights on or not. Not that I can't roll over and do it myself, but you know.
You're
why not?
sounding really lazy. She's really
I
not
am.
that lazy.
I'm giving my dogs the joy of having a job.
Okay, so change of subject. We want some input from you, our listeners. We have done previous podcasts on road trips with dogs, tips for staying in hotels with dogs, tips for camping with dogs, but now we've got a new one. For those of you with RVs, we want to hear from you. Email us, liz@petliferadio.com, and we want to hear what tips do you have for RVing with dogs. Do you set up crates in your RV? Do you pack anything specific? Do you Scotch guard the upholstery? Have you changed the carpet to linoleum? What are some of your ideas for RVing with dogs? Are there certain types of parks you like to go to? And if we get some good ideas, we will share your ideas on our podcast, and we'll give you credit for it.
And we'll put them into use.
And we'll put them into use because we've got an RV now.
Yahoo!
And we'll be taking a road trip in November and recording a podcast from the RV. So we'd like some tips. Send us all your tips. Liz at PetLifeRadio.com.
Good. What's our shopping list? What should be on it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, we got the big one.
Yeah, got the RV.
Got the RV. Now
got the
what?
RV.
We got the 29-footer.
Well, what are we going to put in it? Don't leave home without this.
Yep.
Yeah,
What is
exactly.
it? What is that thing?
Right. So send us all your tips. All right. And we hope the suggestions for tricks were a help to you. And don't forget, you all know I wrote a book on tricks, The Complete Idiot's Guide to Trick Training. I got to give a little plug to that in there.
And you see us in there with our dog.
Lots of pictures. Oh, and I got a motivation for you. You'll see a picture of Kate in a grass skirt doing a trick with a German Shepherd.
But she looks really good, my dog.
Kate,
Yeah, the dog.
Kate in a grass skirt. Buy my book.
Just for that.
My coconuts are covered.
On that note, we'll leave you there. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Having a rough day? Longing for the dog days of summer? Think your fun furry friend lives a dog's life? Well, find out everything you're begging to know as Pet Life Radio presents It's a Doggy Dog World with pet expert and award-winning author Liz Palaika. Every dog has his day, and you'll find out how to make your dog's day fun and rewarding every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.